Rob, welcome to Axel's Garage. Alright, today is the end of the month, or the beginning of the month. It's the beginning of the month, actually. The end of the month was 2 days ago. So, it's the beginning of the month. Anyway, we got this Honda EU2000i. It's the inverter generator. These things are awesome. Guys that are using them, you know they're awesome. We use this one for our camper. It runs our entire camper, no problem. And more recently, as you've seen in a previous video, we started dealing with this food truck, and we've been running this. This runs for about 5-6 hours a day, every day, on the food truck. It's our temporary power until we build our box for our bigger Honda, the EU3000i, or IS, whatever it is, anyway. And once we get that box built and mounted on the truck, then we won't have to use this one. But because we're using this one so much, what we decided to do is we decided, you know what, it's easy enough to change the oil in this thing. Now, when we first bought it, we bought this brand new. First bought it, we probably ran it at the camper for a few years, and that's a couple weekends a year for a couple of years. Probably, we would do like maybe 6 or 8 weekends a year at the camper. And when we're there, if it's a week or a long weekend or just a short weekend, this thing is running 24/7 the entire time we're there. So it had a lot of miles on it. The oil was really dirty. I sent it in to where we bought it, Honda authorized repair place, and they put a new rope, pull string, whatever you want to call it, on, because we had kind of chewed ours up a little bit, and they cleaned up the air filter, re-oiled it, put it back in, and they changed the oil. They said the oil, they had to put it through twice to get it to come out clean. So now that we've been using it, for all those many hours, we wanted to change the oil, but not bring it back every time we need to change the oil. And it's real easy to change it yourself. And guys, if you're bringing it back just for an oil change, really don't need to be. So to change the oil on these, the best place to do it is on a workbench or on level ground. So you got the thing level, and you start off by taking the front cover off, which is this screw right here, and we'll get set up with that. And I'll move the camera so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Alright, so on these generators, they tell you that when you're changing the oil, the oil in the unit should be warm, so they want you to run it for a little while, let it cool off partially, and then you're going to change the warm oil. The thought behind that is that the warm oil will keep the contaminants in suspension, and you'll get a cleaner fill. We're doing it once a month. You can see here when I brought it to the dealer to change the oil, they wrote right on the side of it when they changed the oil with the date in like a Sharpie or something. I don't really need to do that because I know that I'm doing it once a month, either at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, depending on whether it's the last day or the first day. So, pretty simple. Alright, Honda tells you make sure your fuel is closed, make sure your ignition's off, blah blah blah. You really don't have to worry about that too much. Just a little flat blade screwdriver right here, and your inspection cover comes off. Alright, there is a seal on it that will tend to deteriorate over time just from the heat and whatnot, so make sure that seal is back in place. And if it's really getting bad, like mine's got a cut in it and it comes out, but it's pretty good most of the way around. When they start to get real bad, go online and buy yourself a new seal to put in there. It just keeps all the dust and crap out. Alright, so here's your air box. To do the air filter, you would take this screw off. We're not going to do the air filter in this video. We're just going to concentrate on the oil. Honda makes it real easy. They got the oil, dipstick, and drain all in one, and you can see this is kind of like angled, little funnel shape down here. Let me zoom in for you. All right, you see right here, it's kind of got a little funnel shape on the bottom, and it's got like this little drain thing here that is gonna drain the oil down and out. Right, and you can see it fills up with crud and stuff. But and that's it. And this is the dipstick right here, and it's just a little turn. And the dipstick, almost like on a little, small engine. The dipstick and the cap is all in one like that. Now the oil level should be full, so it's right to the threads there. If the oil's covering your threads, you're good. So you're pretty much just filling it up. It's sort of like, it's between 12, it's like 13 ounces, I think, of oil is what goes in. A little more than a half a quart. All right, 12, 13, can you get to 32 and a quart? That's like 13 ounces. So it's 13's about a half a quart. No, 13, 26. It's a little less than half a quart. All right, so really all you need is a drain pan. Let me back the camera back up. Alright, so all you need is a small container. I use an old throwaway, gladeware, Tupperware thing. And you're just going to use that to catch the oil. Have a couple rags because sometimes it can get a little messy, especially if you move or you shake the generator. So I usually just put a little rag under it like that. I keep it to the edge of my countertop, and then what I'll do is I have these old batteries that don't work anymore. I grab them, I keep them laying around so that if I want to paint something, I got to put something up on something, you know, so what I do is you just tilt it forward like that. All I have it is tilted forward with the battery underneath it, just to facilitate the oil coming down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this right, sort of like under the foot right there. I tried doing it like this once, and it just gets everywhere. So I do it right under the foot there, and pull the drain plug out, put it to the side, and then if you want to tilt it a little more like that, you could tilt it a little more, and you could see the oil's going to come right out. Alright, so after about a minute and a half or so, most of the oil's out. You can take your drain pan. You can take your drain pan and, let me move the camera down so you can see. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry about that. You can take your drain pan away and put it where you would put your waste oil. So now that I got rid of my drain pan, it's still dripping a little bit, but it's going onto the rag, just the residual stuff. What I'll do now is just wipe it out. Okay, and I'll take my battery out from the back, and now it pops down and it's nice and level. Alright, so now with the generator level, see a little dipstick here, just keep that to the side. Take this rag and tuck it underneath, and we're going to fill it back up again. Filling it back up again is where it can get a little tricky. Alright, so when you're going to fill it back up again, the best thing to do, and the reason why I say it can get a little tricky because it's easy to overfill it. So, and then you just got oil leaking out. So pretty much get a small funnel and sort of hold it. If you put the tip of the funnel right in to one of the teeth on the groove, and you could hold it in place, right, and clean that little funnel-like spout underneath so that you could see when oil actually starts coming back out again. Alright, now, and then you just pour your oil in. You're going to go, it's like 13 ounces or so. Alright, as far as oil choice goes, I'm using a house oil from Rural King. It's called Harvest King. It's a regular motor oil for gasoline engines, 1030. Honda, of course, recommends you use their Honda 1030. Just like any engine, I'm sure, as long as it's a you know, legit motor oil, I'm sure you can put synthetic in. Well, actually, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't hesitate putting a 1030 synthetic. Any good 1030 motor oil. I'm changing it once a month, so I'm using cheap motor oil, but it's motor oil. So well, I don't want to really get into a giant motor oil discussion. There's a whole lot of opinions about motor oil, but for a small engine like this that's running, like I said, 5 to 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I'm changing it once a month, I think this any off-the-shelf motor oil will do, as long as it's the right way, 1030. Alright, so you're going to pour some in a little at a time. I keep putting the oil down on a flat surface just so I could see how much I'm at. I know when I'm getting close when I get down to like, that I put 12 in. So it's a quart, 32 ounces, so when it hits the 20 mark on the side of the thing, I know I'm real close. I didn't hit it yet. I don't think I've ever actually done it right where I didn't get it spilling out a little all over the place. I'm right at 20, so I'll give it a little shot. Alright, and let that go in. Oh, you know what? I think I'm right there. Alright, I'm going to zoom in. Maybe you could see this. Oh, wrong way. Alright, zoomed in, you can see how the oil is just started to drip off that thing there, off that little funnel-like spout. So I'm going to pull my funnel out. Alright, going to lay it in the rag there, and you can see it's just slowly dripping off of there. So what I'll do is I'll just wipe a little bit of it out, like that. Get my rag in there, clean up my little bit of mess. And that oil is right up in the threads. As long as it's in the threads, you're good. You see, if I even touch it, it starts to drip out a little. If you see, we'll let it sit for a second, and we'll probably just get a little drip. Nope, it's sitting there right at the last thread. But if I stick the rag in, I got oil. So that's exactly where it's supposed to be. Full on level ground. Don't tilt it back. I did that mistake the first time I changed the oil. I tilted it back this way that I had an easier pour going in, and you could actually overfill it just a little bit by doing that. So once you got it right to the top of the threads, or anywhere in the threads, it could be right in the middle. Alright, just give it hand tight. Alright, clean up any residual. What I usually do is just take a little flat blade screwdriver, fold the rag a couple times, just go in this little tray here. They got this little red plastic tray that's in the molding of the cases to send the oil out, not, you know, not on the bottom, so that it gets inside the case. Right, and then I just wipe up any residual oil that got anywhere. That, I can move my funnel, my container of oil over to the side. Alright, and we're all cleaned up. Alright, so we're all done. This is snug. Alright, we got our gaskets back in place. We wiped everything down. Alright, your inspection cover goes right over it. There's my little screwdriver. Alright, a little screwdriver like that. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, make that hand tight and you're good to go. Now what I have noticed is that my first startup after I changed the oil, or actually my first 3 or 4 startups after I changed the oil, I get like a puff of smoke. Now I don't know if that's from rocking it forward or not, or just, you know, having the oil up to the top of the threads where it usually winds up. But then it goes away and the thing runs like a top the rest of the month until I change it, like I said, the end of the month or the beginning of the month, depending on which day it is. Alright, so you know, I know there's a lot of controversy with the oil, and I didn't want changing the oil in a generator to become a what type of oil discussion. But like I said, I put in my regular daily driver cars that are a little older and don't require any synthetic oil or anything like that, like my Suburban, the Jeep Cherokee, the Jeeps, the Wranglers. I like my Harvest King oil from Rural King, and yeah, so I used under a quart, so 2 oil changes in this one thing, and then a little extra that I'll put in my my runoff quart to stick in the cars. But it's 1030 that you're putting in here. If you want to spend a little bit more money on a better oil, I mean, you could do that. But it's so simple and so fast to change. You might as well change it often, especially if you're using the thing. Like we running this thing, the oil does get dirty. You saw how dirty that oil was. That oil was a month old, and like I said, running it, 5-6 hours a day. Usually about 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. Very rarely is it run like a 6th hour or something on a day. But so you can figure out how many hours was on it, and it got that dirty. But it's really really easy. Love these generators. Do it yourself. Don't send it out like I did the last time. I mean, I had more work done, so I guess if I was gonna get like the valve adjusted or I needed a repair done on it, I would just have them change the oil while it's there anyway. But the next oil change, usually every other oil change, I'll clean the air filter and re-oil the air filter. So the next oil change, we'll do the air filter and I'll record that. But we weren't up to an air filter on this one. We did it just at the last one. The air filter is really easy to do also. It's kind of neat. I like this little thing. Here, we'll start it up. All right, that thing's on. Choke. See, slight puff of smoke. Now get a little bit more. It'll clear right up. The cough isn't from the smoke, jackasses. I know what you're trying to say. I've had a cold for like a week. Yeah, the smoke clear right up. The thing purrs like crazy. For the most part, unless I'm using the toaster oven in the food truck, this thing doesn't even kick up off idle. It is awesome. Love them. If you don't have one, great little thing to have. Oh, yeah. I've had this end of fall cold. My wife and I, both of us, have had this cold. I think we just keep on giving it back and forth to each other. Had it for about a week now. I think I'm on the home stretch though. I felt a little bit better today. I was able to get some crap done around the house and in the garage. This kind of stuff and some other work done. That's what we got going on for tonight. I'm going to call it quits because it's getting a little chilly and I'm starting to cough again. And I'm trying to get past this on this freaking cold. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, that's it today from Axel's Garage. We did a lot today. Got the generator done, did some shooting this morning, and we did a little work to the food truck, made another video trying to troubleshoot some crap on that thing. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We got this great new project vehicle, this food truck we bought, 1985 Chevy P30 van that we're going to do a playlist on. Needs a lot of work, giving it a lot of attention. It's like having another project vehicle we didn't realize, so it should be exciting. And we got some other work going on with the K5 coming up too soon. So don't forget, hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. Real simple oil change. And if you like what we're doing here at Axel's Garage, subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.